Okay, this video I'm going to show you how I got to this street number sign. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. I've got my material set to, I can set it to whatever type of wood I want. I'll just put some pine in there for now. And I can put a fill color for whatever I'd like as well. I've got 3 tool paths here, and I'm going to preview all of them to give you a feel for what this thing is going to look like when we cut it out. So making a little street sign that I might put on the side of my house or my mailbox. I'll show you how we got there. We're going to create this whole thing all over again from scratch. So up here on the tab, this is where my artwork is created, and this represents the size of my material. I'm going to minimize this for a moment. You've got an icon on your desktop that should say Vcarve Pro, or if you look under your available apps, you should find Vcarve Pro. Once you launch Vcarve Pro, I'm going to bring this back up for a moment. We're going to go in and set up all of the job settings and then go ahead and create this artwork real quick. So I have an existing job here. You're going to hit New. It's going to call up the same dialog box. This material I happen to make is 7 7/8 long by 5 1/2 tall. Probably could have gotten away with a little narrower. Thickness is 3/4 of an inch. Very important that we put our Z0 in this corner, and our datum for our X and Y is down in this corner. Also check to make sure that you have no offset selected here. This setup is really important when we go to actually cut the part. So follow those steps there. You're in the same you've got the same block that I have right now. So how did I go about drawing that rectangle? Do that real quickly. I'm going to get rid of, just turn those tool paths off for a moment and get these numbers out of here as well. I'm going to draw my oval. So to draw an ellipse or an oval, select this, and I can just create it by clicking and dragging. Create something that I like the look of, or I can type in some values. Hit apply and close that out, and can bring this in and kind of shape it to what I think looks good. Next thing I want to do is center it in my material. So I have it selected. I can select it by putting a box around it. I can select it by clicking on it, and over here I can either align it to some other artwork, or I can align it to the material, which is up here on the top. So I'm going to hit align to the center. It's going to put it in the center. Close that out. Grab my text tool next, and I'm going to type in my address. Now you want to pick a font that is legible and tasteful. And in terms of its size, we can scale it once we put it in. I'm going to hit close. If my font came in too small, too large, we can make it bigger or smaller by grabbing the corner here. Now you want to remember to hold the Shift key down as you scale it so that you keep the proportions. If you forget to do that and you grab it, whoops, if I grab the corner I'm fine. If I grab one of these middle ones, you're going to see that I can really squish this down, and it's going to be more obvious if I grab these. That's not looking too good. Like most software, the Control Z will get you back to where you were. You can do it quite a few times in the Vcarve software. There's a lot of undos, which is nice. I'm going to put this back. If I want to center it perfectly, we're going to go back to that alignment, align it to the material, and I've got it right in the center. Now we're going to create a few different types of tool paths in here. I already have them created. I'm going to recreate these just so you can see how I got here. The first one I created was the numbers. All right, so that was created using the Vcarve. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select my bit first to show you what that looks like, and we're using a 90-degree bit, this guy right here. Feed rates we'll talk about later, but these are fine for now. I'm going to hit OK. That's annoying. I'm going to click on that. Just hit this little tack right here, and it'll hold that out for us. So we got to pick some artwork for it to carve. So I'm going to click on these numbers. Now it has something to work with. We don't need to change any of these. On a different job, we'll learn more about that. I like to change this. I'm going to leave it Vcarve, but I'm going to put in 90 so I know what bit it is, and I'm going to put in numbers so I know what I'm cutting. It's a good habit to name your tool paths so that I'm going to put degree in here too. So that there's no confusion as to what that is. You can see I have a brand new toolpath here, and this is what it looks like. If I want to preview it, I can preview the visible toolpath. The visible one is the one that's checked, and that's what that's going to look like. Okay, I'm going to go back up here, click the tab that brings me back to my artwork. I now want to do something with this oval. So I put a chamfer on it up here. Let me show you how I did that. Close out of this first. In this case, I'm going to go with a profile toolpath, but I'm not going to do it the way it normally is done. I'm going to go on the line instead of inside or outside, and I'm going to go back and select that same 90-degree bit. Now the important thing here is the depth of the pass. I'm going to change that depth to 0.185. Alright, so we've got this probably could be done in one pass. I'll leave it as two passes. Alright, I'm going to hit calculate. We're going to preview this toolpath. Oops, I forgot to name it. Let me close that out. Double click on it, and I'm going to name that chamfer 90-degree bit. Something that, so I know what that toolpath is. Now I hit calculate. So you can see I've recreated that. We can preview visible toolpath, and I've got that cut out. The last one I need to do is to cut this thing out. So I'm going to go back to my profile toolpath. In this case, I'm going to select a different bit. I'm going to select a 1/4 inch straight wood bit. Diameter is 1/4, step over is here. Path depth, that's too much. So I want to drop my path depth to 1/8 of an inch. And can leave that feed rate alone. Okay, it's going to make a couple of passes at that depth, but we're going to go deeper than that. So I want the cut depth to be a little bit more than the material, and it's going to give us a warning that it's going to go through this material. We're going to put some backing board down there so it doesn't ruin the table, but right here you can see that we're 1/100th of an inch deeper than the material that we've selected. So we're going to get a warning when we hit this. I'm going to rename this 0.25 bit, and we can call it our outline or something to that effect. Before I hit calculate, I want to add some tabs in here. So tabs are going to be 1 inch long, 3/8 of an inch thick. I'm going to hit edit tabs. I'm going to put a tab here, 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 and here. And okay, hit calculate. This is the warning I was talking about. Our material is 3/4. Our cut depth is more than that. It's going to go through. It says if you don't have a sacrificial label, you're going to ruin your table. We are going to do that. Something to be aware of. Okay. Now I'm going to reset my preview by hitting this button. Preview all visible toolpaths, and that's the final product. Whoops. Made a mistake. Something happened there. I think this outline was on the line instead of on the outside. We will recalculate that again. Reset my preview. Preview all toolpaths. Oh, I had two sets. I forgot about my other toolpaths. Sorry about that. Let me delete these. Delete that. Those are my old toolpaths. Delete. Delete. And delete this. Okay. Just to make sure I've got things correct, that looks right, and that looks right. These are all visible now. Okay, I've got them all. One more time with that preview. Reset preview, preview all toolpaths. That looks correct. Now we have to output these toolpaths one final step. So close this out. These two are the same bit, so I'm going to select both of those and go to Save. 90-degree bit. Make sure these numbers match so that you know you have the same bit. I'm going to hit Save Toolpath, and I'm going to hit it right there, replace the one that I have. So I'm going to call it Dairy 90-degree. That tells me the bit shape and my numbers. I'm going to hit Save. I'll replace that one. And now I want to do this toolpath, so I'm going to deselect these, save this guy. Again, that's the name. Hit Save. I'm going to replace it. You're not going to be replacing it. Alright, so I've got my toolpath saved. So what does that look like? Just for the fun of it, I want to show you the code. So if I go into my folder, if I open this up, here's the G code that's going to tell the ShopBot what to do. Alright,